Phil Hellmuth is looking down at pocket fours. Pre-flop begins with a sequence that illustrates exactly why Phil Hellmuth is the most frustrating player in the world to play against. Peter Jetton opens the action to 2000 with ace-queen, a standard aggression from a young pro. Amit Makija, sitting with pocket kings, wakes up with a monster and puts in a textbook 3-bet to 6,000. In a GTO world, the action should end here for most marginal hands, but Hellmuth, holding pocket fours in the small blind, decides to cold call the 3-bet. This is a move that math-heavy players despise. He is playing set or fold, out of position against a range that crushes him.
You might be the tightest player at the table, Lucky. What? I thought you'd be the most aggressive.
The best hand I had all night was 2 9s.
This is like Bizarro poker, man.
Jetton calls.
You're playing like Phil Hellmuth, and Phil Hellmuth's playing like you. I don't know what's going on here.
The flop falls low and connected texture that misses the pre-flop aggressor's high card range, but connects dangerously with the type of garbage hands Phil is known to defend. Here, Hellmuth deviates from standard strategy entirely. Instead of checking to the aggressor, he leads with a donk bet for 10,500. This bet is psychological warfare. He is effectively asking Makija, do you have an overpair, and are you willing to lose chips to find out if I have a set? Holding the kings, he cannot fold, but he also cannot raise without isolating himself against a set of 7s or 5s. The turn brings the 2, a card that adds significant equity to Phil's hand. He now holds a pair of 4s and an open-ended straight draw, needing an ace or a 6 to make a straight. Phil switches gears and checks, likely sensing that Makija is ready to fire. Feeling his kings are still ahead of a random pair or a draw, he bets 24,500 for value and protection. Phil's call here is loose. He is chasing a draw on a board where he could already be drawing dead to a set, but his stubbornness and perhaps a sense that the poker gods are with him keeps him in the hand. The river is the ace, the ultimate money card for Hellmuth. The dynamic shifts violently. Phil, having backed into the nuts, leads out for a massive
48.
From Makija's perspective, this is a nightmare. The ace is a scare card and connects with the board's runout. Furthermore, Phil's line lead flop, check call turn, lead river, is incredibly strong.
Only Phil Hellmuth can look into your soul to know if you have it.
It represents a hand that was trapping on the turn and is now extracting maximum value. Makija looks at his pocket kings, which have now been downgraded to a mere bluff catcher.
Oh, Phil. It's a close spot.
He's still trying to pick something up off of Phil.
All right, Phil. You can show me a bluff.
Amac folds.
If he was bluffing, he'd be smiling right now. So, believe me, he would love to show you that bluff.
Jennifer Tilly is looking down on ace-9 offsuit.
Tony, why are you on my left?
Just thought we'd play one nice spot together.
This is pure ego warfare. Tony G has ace-king and does exactly what you expect from him. He bumps it up to 4,000. Jennifer Tilly does something that really defines the rest of the hand. She does not just call and play a small pot. She reaches for chips and re-raises to 12,000. That re-raise is her planting a flag.
Wow.
From Tony's point of view, ace-king is way too strong to fold, and a 5-bet shove is probably overplaying it against a range that still has monsters.
Is it that good? 12?
So he takes the middling line and just calls, keeping all of Tilly's bluffs and dominated aces in. The flop comes paired, kind of dry, and very awkward for both of them. Tilly, after 4 betting pre-flop, checks. That check is sneaky. With ace-9, she has completely missed. But as the pre-flop aggressor, she could very easily fire and tell a story of queens, kings, or aces. Tony quietly improves to top pair top kicker, while Tilly is now done for. But the real story is what the king does to perceived ranges. From Tilly's point of view, that king is supposed to be a scare card for Tony as well as for her, and bets 12,000. Tony just calls. He does not raise, because when he raises here, he isolates himself against very strong hands and folds out all her air. The river brings the ace, and it is absolutely brutal for Tilly. Tony quietly upgrades from top pair top kicker to top 2 pair. Tilly also improves, but in the most dangerous way possible.
You want me to take the race back?
What?
You want to take it back? I'll take it back. No, really, take it back.
I don't think you could take the ace back.
Then I'll take it back, I promise. If the ace wins, you win the pot.
What do you mean?
So I'm worried like the ace upset you, so I'm happy to take it
No,
off
the
the table.
25K upset
Okay,
me.
all right, let's leave it on there then. I might need it.
Oh my God. I don't even know why I raised you in the first place.
I'm gonna make it 20?
Yeah, make it 20.
All right, make it 20. There.
What a nice guy.
Okay, cool.
Makes the call.
Ace king, I wouldn't lie.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with a pair of fives. But she's up against Haxton with ace-king offsuit, who is raised to $2,500 in this crazy poker cash game.
Daniel's out. Tilly, pocket fives. Should be an easy call. She does.
Surprises one time, Ken, and just put the 3-bet in.
It'll happen.
Surprises
Not with those cards.
Are you feeling the peer pressure right now?
You can't think of it like that. You have to think that $800 bought you goodwill at the table and possibly an invitation to be invited back. Because, you know, these guys love when you straddle.
The flop comes 5-king, 7 rainbow. Jennifer hits the set and Joe Haxton just made top pair, top kicker. And if you know poker, you know that's the kind of hand that makes grown men hand over their chips with a smile and then cry in the parking lot.
Tilly donks it for 3K.
Poor Joe Haxton, this is just not his week.
Poker isn't about what you have. It's about what you represent. And right now, Joe's call caps his range. He's telling Jennifer he doesn't have 2-pair. He doesn't have a set. He's sitting on a 1-pair hand, hoping to keep the pot low.
5 of clubs, quads for Jen. This is the second time Joe's been up against quads this week.
Tilly is holding the bangers. But notice, no fast plays, not even a bet. She's hoping he has caught something to hold on to while she tries to slowly squeeze him off.
Joe could easily think he's ahead.
Obviously he does. He bets 6,500.
Everyone at the table thinks she's the playful actress who overplays marginal hands. But right now, she's successfully turning that persona into pure profit. And Haxton, like most men would, falls for her trap.
Jen min raises to 13K.
By making it the smallest raise possible, she's given herself a good shot at getting called.
And Joe does make the call. Jen's got quads and she's got herself a customer. Ace of diamonds, 2-pair for Joe. That is not a good card for him.
20,000.
That's 20K.
I call.
And Joe calls.
I call, Jen.
You call?
4 of a kind again.
Am I the king of quads today or what?
Joe can't believe it.
Really?
Daniel Negreanu was looking down at Queen 7 suited.
36. So you have a few more years before you get in that Poker Hall of Fame. You're both going to get in, for sure. 100%. You two. I don't know, but no offense, I don't think you guys can get in yet. Maybe. A little bit.
Okay, I'm
Maybe
not,
some
I'm
more
not,
stuff.
I'm not.
That's all I ever wanted to do in my life.
In your life was
get
being
in the Poker Hall of Fame.
Fame.
It's like a little ceremony and
Yeah.
what do they do there?
You just
It was probably
have free
probably
food.
cool, right? It was
I didn't think
probably
it was a big. I was like,
When's
I
your
didn't
ceremony?
care.
When's your ceremony?
Oh, it was already done. November last year.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, you were supposed to speak there for me and all that. You were busy.
cool. You were supposed to speak.
I don't know where you were. Yeah.
How would it came to it? I didn't even know.
Pre-flop begins in the high-stakes environment of the shark cage, where the unique shot clock and penalty rules add an extra layer of psychological stress to every decision.
Raise. 30,000.
Negreanu, the master of small ball and reading souls, decides to widen his range significantly from late position. He opens the action to 30,000 holding Queen 7 of clubs. While this is a statistically loose open, Negreanu relies on his ability to outmaneuver his opponents post-flop. The flop falls a disconnected and dry board texture that seemingly favors the pre-flop caller. Antonio has an overpair to the board, but true to his defensive line, he checks to the raiser. Negreanu, holding absolutely nothing but queen high, chooses a very disciplined checkback. The turn brings the 6, a card that adds a layer of complexity to the board. Antonio, sensing that the free pass on the flop has ended, decides to take the betting lead. He fires 53,000. He is betting for value and protection. Negreanu, now holding significant equity with his straight draw and his overcard queen, makes the easy call. The river is the 4. Antonio looks at the board and sees nothing but low cards. He remains convinced that his pocket tens are an unbeatable overpair in this specific spot. He decides to go for a massive value bet, firing 100,000 into the pot. This is where the trap snaps shut.
So he wants to go to the cage, is what he's saying? Think you might go. I don't know. So if he's bluffing, I call him. He goes, hangs out there for a little while. Ah.
Daniel calls with his straight. Boom.
Antonio, let's see that.
He goes to the cage, right? If it's a bluff. No, value, never mind.
You thought it was another card?
Straight.
Yeah,
I have
it's got
straight.
straight with queen 7.
Of course.
God, you just get there.
I do. That's how I play.
Dude, that's how I play.
You just
I'm so happy.
sick.
The worst winner ever.
You just look so steamed every time Daniel
He
beats you.
always
up.
has it. Unbelievable.
Like, you wouldn't be upset if I beat you like that, would you?
No.
Not as
No.
It's annoying the way that I win. I'm like Floyd Mayweather, you know? Boring to watch, but I win. I find a way.
Helppi is looking down at ace-king suited. Pre-flop, this is the classic Finland on Finland friendly fire set up as a quiet cooler. Helppi opens absolutely standard with stacks this deep. Sointila finds pocket aces in late position and 3-bets to 12,000, also totally routine. He wants value from all the big Broadway hands and pocket pairs that will hate folding pre-flop. Helppi just calls, which is fine and probably best. 4-betting turns his hand face up and lets Sointila play perfectly. Flatting keeps Sointila's entire 3-bet range in, disguises the suited monster, and sets up a lot of future boards where Helppi can either represent big strength or actually have it. The flop comes a dream and a nightmare at the same time. Helppi's check is really good. His hand doesn't need protection, and he wants to give Sointila every chance to c-bet with overpairs or bluffs. The turn only makes things worse for aces. Helppi is still sitting on the stone nuts and checks again, continuing with his failed attempt to trap. Sointila's second check is basically him resigning to showdown mode. He beats all the bluffs but is drawing dead versus any club. Helppi finally reaches for chips and chooses 6,000. A classic please pay me sizing. It is small enough that aces without a club feel priced in, but big enough to matter. From Sointila's seat, this is actually a very foldable spot. He holds no club, the line never looks like a bluff, and Helppi's range has far more club combinations than his. But when you start the hand with aces, it is hard to hit the brakes on the river for such a small amount.
Pre-flop you.
Tony G is looking down at Jack 9 offsuit.
I regret it every single time.
Round of straddles is on.
5.
Raise to 5. Perfect.
Pre-flop begins with a fascinating clash between two distinct generations of poker aggression. Ethan Rampage Yao, the face of the modern poker vlogging era.
And of course, the 2K ante, the straddle gets an incredible price here.
Super pro. Against the super pro.
However, the legendary Tony G, sitting in the straddle, is not a player who enjoys folding his territory. The flop falls an absolute statistical disaster for the veteran. Both players have flopped tripjacks, but the hierarchy is brutal. Rampage holds the king kicker, giving him a massive advantage, while Tony is the victim of a classic kicker trap with his 9. Tony G checks, adhering to a deceptive defensive line. Rampage fires a small continuation bet of 3,000 meant to induce action. Tony, sensing that Rampage might be continuation betting with air, executes a raise to 8,000. This is where the hand enters a high-level clickback war. Rampage, realizing he has the better trips and wanting to define the kickers immediately, 3-bets the flop to 25,000. Tony G, stubborn as ever and refusing to believe he is outkicked on the very first street, makes the call. The turn brings a complete brick. However, the psychology shifts as Tony G decides to seize the initiative. Instead of checking to the 3-better, Tony leads out with a donk bet for 25,000. This is a pure Tony G maneuver. He is trying to set the price or represent that he was trapping with a full house on the flop. He wants to confuse Rampage's mental model of the hand. The river is the queen, a card that puts a potential straight in play, but doesn't change the fact that both players hold trips. Tony G, having led the turn and been called, suddenly hits the brakes and checks. This is the moment Rampage has been waiting for. He realizes that Tony is likely in bluff catch mode and decides to go for maximum value. He fires a massive overbet of 110,000.
Ace king again.
He is putting Tony G to the ultimate test, asking him if his tripjacks are worth a 6-figure investment. Tony G goes into the tank, his ego battling his logic. He has called every street and led the turn, and now facing a massive river bet, he talks himself into the idea that Rampage is at it with a missed straight draw or a weaker jack.
What's your ace king? I raise 5 pre.
Queen. These are new. You know that? Like this weekend is the first time they've had these in play. I couldn't have used them.
And he's going to get paid off. Rampage here. Trips over trips.
Jack, yeah.
Cannett opens the button to 120,000 with pocket aces, a standard linear raise that wants calls from dominated aces and broadways. Haxton defends the big blind, getting a great price. That defend thrives versus late position opens. It flops backdoor straights, occasional two-pair, and the jack of clubs is a premium blocker that unlocks strong semi-bluff lines on club boards. Effective stacks are deep enough that Haxton's plan is realize equity first, attack later.
Wow, what a flop. Top set for Cannett, royal flush draw for Ike.
On the flop, Cannett smashes top set and nut club density, c-bets tiny, keeping his whole range intact and denying equity from random hands. With one club and no made hand yet, Haxton's raise would isolate himself against nut clubs and boats. Calling is superior. He realizes equity with his jack-high club while keeping every worse club and many red card bluffs from Cannett inside the pot. The turn is the 7 of clubs, and Haxton arrives with the flush. Checking is mandatory. His range needs check calls to protect earlier passivity, and it invites bets from one club hands and overpairs without a club. Top set without a club hates facing a check raise, and his turn checking range is heavy on exactly what Haxton targets. The river pairs the queen, double pairing the board with ace and queen. That card is far better for Cannett than for Haxton. It promotes ace-queen and pocket queens to boats, and leaves many single club hands stuck as one pair. Haxton leads 450,000 into roughly 590,000, avoiding torching value versus boats. Cannett responds by shoving for Haxton's effective stack, polarizing to full houses or an extremely rare bluff. Given the turn check, his credible bluffs are thin. A jack-high flush is strong in a vacuum, but not against this line and texture.
You win.
Let's go.
Show me the bluff. It would be a lot of fun.
Don't do it.